Okay, so this video is going to be pretty unscripted, but I think it's worth making anyway, and it's going to be a little bit of an intro to R, what you can do with R, and why it is a lot better, and how to start learning it in a very easy way. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to be taking some example questions to really show you the magic of R, because it is a lot better than Excel or any GUI software, and just using commands are just a lot easier, and this is a perfect example of that. So I'm in NeoVim right now. And I use this extension called NVimR, which allows NeoVim to interact with the R console in a very easy way. So I'm going to press space RF or leader RF, and you'll see the R console opens up at the bottom right there. In R, you can actually read CSV files. So you don't have to open them, you just have to read them. So I'm going to press leader D, and you can see at the bottom over there, it actually read the CSV. So now every time I press DDF, it basically refers to this entire data set. So if I print head DDF, it's going to show me the first few data points of that entire data set. And if I do things like, and you'll notice the first question over there says, use software to find the 5-number summary of the variable total score together with mean, standard deviation, and present your values in a table, yada. Okay. So in order to do this in Excel, I don't know how to do it in Excel because it's really difficult and really unintuitive and it requires a lot of mouse clicks. But in R, you can just run this command called summary, and then I press DDF, which is the whole data set, and I do $sign to represent a column of that data set. So in this case, they're asking for total score. So if we go down here, you'll notice that there's actually a variable called total score. I'm going to press Control V to go into block visual mode, and you can see, okay, so basically what summary does, or what the $sign does, is it takes this specific column and all the numbers in this column and runs the command on that. So if I run this, I press leader D to run it into the R console. I'll press ZZ so you guys can, it brings it to the center of the screen and you guys can see it. Okay, now we can see the 5-number statistic, whatever the fuck, right? We see the minimum, the first quartile, median, mean. Very easy. It took me the second it takes to type all this out, which is less than 5 seconds. Okay, standard deviation is just the same thing. It's just a function. I press leader L to run the line, and look at that. You can see at the bottom the standard deviation is printed out. Okay, now let's say I want to do summary on something else, like health, which is another column in this data set. You can actually see health somewhere over there. I'm not really going to go into where. Okay, I do the same thing, summary leader L, and you can see at the bottom, look at that. Everything is printed out here. Okay, and a lot of you are going to be asking how all these key bindings do all these things. And the thing is, I'm using NeoVim with DWN. NeoVim, I have the tmux manager, where I can press Control J and K to swap between these windows and whatnot, but I'm not going to get into that too much here. I made a video on my NeoVim R setup. You can watch that and get it set up if you want to. Not really difficult to do, but I guess it takes some time getting used to. Now, okay. There's actually a mildly complicated question or two complicated questions which I wanted to cover in here. So the students, you can read question B. Okay, just let me zoom in so you guys can see that. Okay, so basically what part B is asking us to do is, students have also reported their health status on a scale of 1 to 5. And you get it, 5 is good and whatnot. So now they want summary statistics, for the variable total score with respect to each category. So basically what they're asking you to do is like filter all that shit. Now filtering in Excel or even Radian or whatever is extremely difficult. I don't even know how you would filter this in Excel because it's just so unintuitive. I imagine there's like some GUI menu which you have to click a bunch of times, which is just ridiculous. But to filter things over here, it's actually very easy. You can just use the which function. So now I'm going to make a new data set called low health. I'm going to use this to basically assign it. This is not Python, right? We don't assign with equals. We assign with this arrow key thing. And I'm going to write DDF, which is the entire data set. You can see at the top, read CSV. And then I'm going to do square bracket which, and then I'm going to go DDF $ health. So now it's going to look at everything under the health category. It's going to look at everything, every value over here. Okay, you can see I've highlighted it at the bottom. It's going to look at every value over here. It's going to look at every value over there. And if it is a 1, then it is going to add it to this data set. So I press leader D to run that. And then I press, now I can get the summary statistics for that without, I just press leader D and look at that. It's done, right? I have summary statistics for everybody in the low health category. Now, what I can do is I can copy this. I press Y to yank it. I press P to paste it, and then I can just 2 health, which is what I made at the bottom. I can go over here, I can make this R2, and then I can make this 2 health again. Okay, I probably should use macros and pattern search to change that, but you get the point. I don't want to go into Vim too much here, I just want to talk about R. So now I copy pasted this, and I used patterns and macros to do all of this, right? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories. And it took me about 2 minutes to do all of this. I didn't even write all of this again. I just used macros to do it all. And okay, now I can actually plot. Now I made a new data set called health means, which is basically the mean of all the health categories, right? Mean, again, the dollar sign represents the column in R. And okay, I just added all 5 of them. And now I did health values, which is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I just did plot health values and health means. And this plot shows some kind of relationship or whatever the fuck. Basically, it answers the question. And all of this, I did this whole question in about less than 10 minutes. Now, you may think, ooh, I can do this in RadianSid or my Excel or whatever weird-ass bloated GUI software you use. And so, okay, let's look at another question. Okay, so now they have another question here, which actually uses another data set. So, okay, I probably should have called this something else, but whatever. I'm just going to call it DDF. I'm going to press leader RR to clear the R console, which is another Vim feature, but whatever. Okay, I'm leader L. Okay, now we're using the other data set. I'm going to press leader L again. Okay, so now this is another data set, which is about like bidding and whatnot. Like car auction or whatever the fuck. Okay, so now they're asking me things like, okay, the quota is the number of successful bids that are expected to be quite similar or whatever. They're basically asking me the correlation between them over all of the years. And in order to do that, I can just do, okay, they're asking me for a correlation between 2 variables. I can just use the core function, and I can go the $ quota, which is the quota column, and I can go $bid success. I press leader L, and boom, it prints out a correlation coefficient right there. If I want to omit things, NA values, because they forgot to input the values, I can just use the NA-omit to surround the respective column, and all the NA values will be omitted. They'll just be skipped. You might need to use this if you run into some problems. And okay, now let's just go into the spicy question. I don't want to focus too much on this question. Okay, you'll see question B. For each category, describe the linear association between quota and premium over all the years using suitable tools. Okay, by suitable tools, they want you to use some crap like Radiant or whatever GUI crap. And then they compare the linear association in each category with the overall linear association with all the categories. Yada. Point is, they want you to basically look at everything in a certain category and then find a correlation between that, and then do that for every single category. So if I print table vehicle class, you'll see how many categories I have. I have 5 categories, which means I'll have to do this 5 times. So let's do it once, okay? So in order to do it once, I'm just going to call it cat A. And what I'm doing here is I'm making a new data set. And then I'm doing the filtering thing I did before. I'm doing DDF, which is the entire data set. I'm using which vehicle class. That's the column I'm looking at. And because it's a string, I make sure it equals category A. So I'll just show you over here. Control V, block visual. And okay, this is the column I'm looking at. This is the column I'm filtering by. You'll notice it says category A right there. So now, because of this, everything with category A is going to be added into this new data set. And now I can simply run core, which is the correlation function. I go cat A, which is this new data set. And then I use the same column as before, the quota column. And then I use the premium column. And I press leader L. Okay, wait. I press leader D, leader L. And look at that. I have a correlation coefficient right there. Okay, now you may say, okay, so I have to type all of this to get a simple correlation coefficient? Not really. You can use snippets. I actually made a snippet here, which makes it a whole lot easier for me to do that, but whatever. And even if you have to type all of this, typing all of this is a lot easier than using some kind of GUI and clicking a bunch of stuff and then clicking a bunch of other stuff, because when you type it, you can always copy and paste. Now, if you're not using Vim and you're using RStudio or something like that, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to use your mouse, you're going to press Control C, Control V, and then you're going to use your mouse to navigate the caret to like the A part, and then you're going to don't do that. Just do it simple. Okay, I'm going to press Shift I to go to the beginning of the line. I'm going to press V. I'm going to highlight all this. Okay, I probably should have used, I used Shift A to go to the end of the line. My bad. All right. I'm going to paste this. Okay, now I'm going to highlight all this. And I'm going to unhighlight it. I'm going to press / to pattern search, / percentage capital V. And I'm going to look for the pattern CAT. I'm going to press Enter. And then I'm going to press E to go to the end of that. I'm going to press A to insert mode to the right-hand side of the current character I'm on. I'm going to press backspace, and I'm going to press B. I'm going to go into normal one. I'm going to press N twice. I'm going to do the same thing. Now, okay, I probably should use macros for this, but I have category B ready. All I need to change is I just change this to B. NOH, remove highlighting, leader D, and look at that. We have the second correlation coefficient. I do this, okay, doing this 5 times. I didn't actually do it like that. I use macros and whatnot, but even if I didn't, doesn't really matter. I do it 5 times and boom, look at that. You can see it over here. I have all the correlation coefficients for all of the categories. And okay, let's just go do another question quickly here. So basically now, you can see part C. It's asking you to choose which one is better to bid on. So they want you to find a line of regression for 2 of the categories and basically find out which one results in a lower value for the input variable of 1,000, for the quota of 1,000. So you can find out which premium is cheaper. So how did I do that? Okay. Now in R, like I said, everything is just done through functions, which is just way easier because typing and recording keystrokes, copying keystrokes is far easier. Actually, it's just doable. You cannot actually record mouse strokes or whatever. How do you make a mouse macro? That's not possible. I don't think it is actually possible. But whatever, right? I can use this. I can make a new thing called fit. I'm just going to call it fit because why the hell not? And then I'm going to use the LM function. And I'm going to go premium, which is actually the Y variable, against quota. Now, over here, it's a little bit different because we're not using the dollar signs. We're actually just using the names of the columns itself. And you actually have to specify data equals cat B or category B, which is what I did up here. So I'll press leader D, leader D, leader D, leader. Okay, now coeffit, this is going to print the coefficients. And you can see here, okay, intercept, that is your y-intercept, and this is, or at least this is the m value, the slope value. It's so much easier than doing it in Excel, because to do this in Excel, what I'd have to, just filtering alone would take you a decade. And then after that, you'll have to actually make a plot, and then in that plot, you'll have to click a line of linear regression. So you're actually loading a ton of GUI modules, which increase CPU usage and cause everything to be way slower. But over here, I have just done it with one command. I don't have any bloat. I'm not making a whole graph for the purpose of finding 2 coefficients. I'm just printing the 2 coefficients. And okay, I do the same thing again. Now, you know anything about Vim, you know that you never do anything twice. So what I did is I just copied this and I just changed the B to an E. And then you can see I did that over here. So the same thing. Leader D, leader D, leader D. Oh, okay, that actually plots it. Oh, my bad. Okay, don't do that. Leader D, and look at that. Okay, I'm going to press Control J, my Tmux window navigator in Vim. I'm going to press ZZ to bring it to the middle of the line. And you can see the new intercept, the slope value for the E category. And again, doing this in any GUI is really difficult. And okay, now I'm going to show you some quick tips on how to learn R very easily. ChatGPT. Okay, I think I've said more than enough here. Learning the syntax is not too hard. I recommend you watching my NVim R video to get this set up because this is way easier as well. You can do this on RStudio, but again, you're going to end up using your mouse a lot. You're going to be copying and you're going to be using it to move the caret a lot as well, which is just very not optimal. And you're going to end up doing many things twice. So yeah, categorizing, subsetting data, splitting data is all very easy in R. There's also so much more you can do. You can even do things like mathematical computation. So R is actually a very good alternative for MATLAB. Or Julia, you can use that too. That was developed in 2013. And I think Julia is also false. So there's so many things you can do with R. And this is so much faster than any GUI. Like I said before, in order to find a line of regression in Excel or Radian or whatever crap GUI your school gets you to use, you'll actually have to make the whole graph. Not to mention starting up Radian or starting up Excel itself is such a huge task on your CPU. Over here, I can just press Alt-Shift-Enter to open up a terminal, and I just press N, and boom, NeoVim is open. Or I can use LF to navigate my files, which is a terminal file manager. And that is just way faster than, opening up some GUI and then navigating to your files or clicking on an icon at a desktop, which is the most ridiculous thing anyone can ever do. So doing things from the terminal, doing things interacting with the console allows you to, one, be way more specific. I communicate to R what I want it to do. You can see it over here. I just use the function. R understands it, okay, and it outputs exactly what I want it to output. There's no question. There's no like, oh, you have to click this thing. There's no option to do that. We haven't put a button that does that. I don't need a button. I just write and I tell it what I want it to do, and it does it, no problem. And it does it really quickly as well because there is no button. I don't have to load up a button to press something. I don't need to load up a settings menu. I just do what I want. I get it done. I don't use my mouse, and I finish the assignment before the GUI cucks even boot up their programs. So thank you for watching. I know this is a very unstructured video, but again, learning R, ChatGPT, bro. You're going to figure it out. You can do it. Thank you for watching. Bye.